Do you find it difficult to focus on your customers and even your own employees as you're juggling numerous vendors? Do you have more meetings with vendors than you can count? And do their reports filled with technical jargon make you feel clueless and frustrated? Such is the story of Nathan. Being at a car dealership, he's concerned about his store's digital marketing presence and invests most of his time dealing with vendors to promote his business and gain more sales and market share. Nathan is busy handling reports and reviewing them, not knowing what is happening on the advertising front and about his true ROI. Poor Nathan is worried but can't figure out a solution until he found BZ Consultants Group. BZ Consultants stepped in and was able to take the digital marketing vendor burden off Nathan's plate, giving him peace of mind that the best interest of the dealer was always top of mind. Being an unbiased third party, BZ Consultants always made sure to relay the reports in easy, relatable, and actionable ways so that Nathan could best utilize the data. Now, Nathan can focus on what he really wanted, the customer experience and growth. By being your digital marketing business partner, BZ Consultants Group will remove the hassle trying to hold your vendors accountable and increase your productivity with the time you will now have armed with true data. Together, we make it possible because your success is our goal.
It would help, Paul, if I took off the screen in the background. That would be a good idea. You know, it's a Friday. As I'm like trying to comment on the comments that are coming in, I am mistyping everything. I'm misspelling everything. And that's just where we are right now. I was like, well, so here we go. I can't type. StreamYard's coming up with like all types of issues for Facebook. So if you're trying to view on Facebook, you're probably not hearing me right now, hop over to LinkedIn or YouTube. Unfortunately, I can't control whether there are issues with StreamYard. It just happens. It's actually on Facebook. It's not StreamYard. But anyways, aside from the fact that Brooke can't type and it looks like she's got an education of a 2-year-old, how's your Friday going there, Paul?
I'm doing great. It's Good Friday. I've got family coming over for the holidays on Sunday, so it should be a good time.
Yes.
How about yourself?
Oh, you know, I put up a post earlier today, just like it's taken like 11 days to get to Friday. And I truly feel it right now. Like it's been a couple of crazy, I would say weeks, but it's been months. And I was like, man, each of these weeks feel like it's an entire month in 1 week lately, but I'm very grateful for what we do.
Yeah, no matter how the winter goes, those last days are like when you were in school as a kid and the clock just ticked slower and slower. And it was like, it's only 5 minutes, but spring will be here soon enough. Everybody will feel good again. So
yeah, it's like any basketball game that's the last 2 minutes are going to take 17 hours. So it's about the same. Quick shout out, Jeff. Good Friday to you, buddy. Good to see you. Jeff, as always, happy birthday to you every single day because every day is your birthday. And we're all just blessed to be in your presence. Let's be honest. Joshua, yes, 100%. Let's go. Like we're going to get this thing rocking and rolling. Before we begin though, watching some March Madness last night, I forgot to ask you this offline. Are you a UConn fan? Are you happy about the fact that it's UConn?
Oh my God. And I hope one of my clients isn't watching because I keep teasing him about it, but we had Kling, the center, as a spokesperson, and we were like, all right, do we go with the girls or the boys? And they just decided on the girls, and of course, very talented player, but she got injured. AZ Fudd got injured, so I'm like, and every time I'm like, should we have gone with the the guy that's winning everything and is going to be an NBA star? And he's like, shut up. But no, AZ's a good person. She does a good job. She's very polite, and we got 2 years with her, so I'm sure she'll do good. But yes, I love what the men are doing. I love what the women are doing. I think once before they won both at the same time. I'm hoping they pull it off again.
Was it last year they won both? No, because
no. Going back to I think 2011.
It's 11, man. Because it was Paige. It's so much fun. We were talking the other night with a bunch of us. It's just, granted, I'm gonna be that person that's like the old person on the lawn that's like, get off my lawn. NBA is just not the same. Like, and I know that I grew up in an era where yes, it was the best basketball ever, but now it's to me personally, it's unwatchable for so many reasons. Won't even get into that. So watching the women's NCAA, I was talking to friends and they're like, man, I never thought I'd see the day that I would rather watch women's basketball than men's. I was like, don't disagree with that. I mean, there's between Yukon's page, we've got Caitlin. I mean, there's just so Juge. There's so many incredible players. Just it's so exciting to watch it. So, it's been a lot of fun. I don't like the games being at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I'm not a fan of that one because you got to stay up till
that whole regional stuff and that advertising thing that gets in the way. So
I don't know. It's not about advertising. I mean, who the hell does that? Seriously,
so stupid. Why do they even bother? Yeah. Anyway, so
oh, mercy. Get to some of these comments here. Robbie, how are you? I'm surviving, buddy. It is Friday and we've made it. It's been a little bit craziness, but we've made it. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. And Mr. Brian Ortega in the house. Brian, yo to you, and you're awesome. I almost call it like it's Fabio hair in your latest commercial. Like it's Rico Suave, but I would say almost like Fabio. I like it, dude. You got Jeff back to the comment. I'm blessed. Oh, Jeff, this doesn't surprise me. I'm sure you feel blessed all the time to be yourself. Look in the mirror like, damn, I'm awesome. Like I can definitely see that. Brian is.
Oh my, you got groupies, don't you?
It's a pretty awesome community we have here. Brian saying sure. Jeff present is present enough. Okay. Oh, hey, Paul. How are you doing? Hola to you, buddy. And Russell, I was wondering where you were. I hadn't seen you in the chat here. So hello to you. All I need is just the facts. Leave the feelings out of it. That's exactly how we roll. Except when it comes to March Madison and my Tar Heels losing last night. There may have been more F-bombs than normal in the household because they just...
I didn't even know they lost last night. Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Damn.
Yeah. Illinois won, and then North Carolina lost, and I was not very happy last night. You didn't want to be around me last night. So. Oh, man. But we had an incredible episode that dropped yesterday. We talked a little bit offline, and yesterday, it's been a crazy March, and I think I really do believe this was a really good episode to drop during this time frame because March is so interesting, and it's just been down for the majority of dealerships. So first off, thank you for your wisdom and your wise wisdom that you were dropping yesterday. I super appreciate it.
Again, you're too kind. Some people would question that, but you don't. Thank you.
Back to a funny note here. We got Jeff saying, how much Jeff could a wood Jeff if it what seriously, Jeff, what are you doing to me right now on Friday? Like I'm just going to leave that up to y'all. Can try to say that. It's not going to happen here. But let's go with one of your main takeaways from the show yesterday. And there was a lot to unpack on that episode. So we'll just start with one of them and we'll roll from there.
I'll be honest with you. It's funny because I was checking it out and I was like, okay, I wasn't tragic. That worked out, thank God. No, but all kidding aside, one of the things that I keep going back to, and you and I were talking about, as much as I'm a marketing person and a consultant, and we can, everyone can drop that name on them. I still don't have a certificate that says I'm a professional. I've just been doing it for 18 years. One day, somebody's going to get it to me. But common sense has to prevail at some point. And I empathize with dealers who are scrambling. I just got off the phone with one of my clients a little while ago, and he's turning over stones. He's trying to unpack things to figure out, like, how am I going to do better? I respect and I commend everybody for that. But there has to be that moment where you step back and you just don't, drop a hand grenade and hope for the best. You got to be able to take a step back and really look at yourself first. And one of the major factors, I had one client that used to say to me, Paul, if you're putting my ads out there and everything's working right and everything's going the way we said and we approved, then I can't hold you responsible. And I appreciate it. Now, as a car person, I always want to dig in deeper. I want to be part of the equation. I call myself the grandparent. I get to go play with the kids and go home before things get crazy. I get to go be a car guy in a dealership, and then they can close the day and I don't have to worry about, all the day-to-day stuff. I love the car business, but at some point we have to ask ourselves, one, how do we reinvent the store to make it cool again? And that was that whole Apple thing about people and getting the right people in place. I was at a store the other day. Salesman told me that he let a customer out at $900 a month payment. I asked him how much it was. He said MSRP. Never said, well, I negotiated. I tried to get his low. No, he just let him go. When you go into an Apple store, they're there to give you an experience. Car dealers have to get on the same page with experience. And then that spills into your business development center where we need telecommunication professionals. I don't mean to pick on any BDC person. And I don't want to say when I said blow up your BDC, it doesn't mean they don't have jobs. It means we reinvent their job. And it requires people to have training skills on how to talk, on how to convert, on how to do things. And you need a car person running the BDC. You need a sales manager handling the virtual showroom, not someone who just handles leads. And pay plans have to change. So I know that was a long-winded answer, but I really feel passionately about if we're going to have success, you can't miss opportunities.
Amen to all of that. And interesting enough, as we were going through and looking at everything here, actually, before I begin, I got to bring up Brian's. So after Jeff's comment here, we got Brian saying, how much Tito's would it? Never mind. Kids are what? Well, but it's a Friday. And you all know that the show ends up being like X-rated at some point. So Brian, have at it. Totally fine. Russell says, what are you talking about? I think to your comment, I'm ready for the Nuggets. So I will say with that as well, like I've had multiple conversations lately, and a lot of it has to do with March for sure. But even like post-COVID era that we're in, that, I don't know if I really trust, and this is no knock to the BDC, but to what your point is, I don't think I can trust them writing a personalized email. I'm like, well, then do video. They're like, yeah, I don't think I trust them talking. I'm like, well, okay, then that's that I can't help that one. We can train as much as possible, but you do need people in that position that are knowledgeable and that are empowered. Like that's such a big one even if they know what they're talking about and they do a really good job, if they're constantly going back and forth, trying to get price, trying to get this, what is the point of having a BDC? Like at that point, just turn it over to your salespeople. There's no reason for it. Please empower them.
Well, and to dovetail on that, Brooke, here's the thing. For years, we called the podium system antiquated. Salesman goes in, greets the customer, meet, greet, qualifies, get everything. Did you take him on a test drive? Get him on an up sheet. And now they go into the negotiation. Hey, the car's $50,000. How much, and then first person who talks loses. Now we sit down. Salesman says, customer says, can you do a better job? I'll have to check with my manager. And that goes back and forth for 30 minutes, an hour. And now we say we frown on that and that we need to empower salespeople. There needs to be a better streamlined process and a more professional process. Yet, what are we doing with our BDC? Mm-hmm. When can you come in? Well, I just need to know what my payment would be. I need to know what the price would be. Okay, yeah, but you have to come in for that. Okay, well, guess what? We just dropped ourselves back 3 decades all over again. You gotta be able to put people in those positions that are going to be able to do the job. Hence my point behind having a sales manager, not a BDC manager. Now, it may just be a title. It can't just be a title. It has to be someone knowledgeable that can make the executive decision to say, this is the price. This is what we can do for you, and how to word track properly, how to speak properly. They say life and email, texts and emails take a life of their own. They do. So you got to be good at them. And with this Federal Trade Commission thing coming, and everyone's kind of trying to ignore this big pink elephant in the middle of the room, it may have been pushed off. Yeah, it may have been pushed off for a few months. But biggest word in the dictionary, if they do come through with this, guess what? BDC either goes away or changes. Virtual, what is it? The click-to-buy tools, virtual retail tools, big problem. There's so many big problems. I don't know how we're going to handle it overnight. So,
we're not going to. It's that is a whole. I'm actually doing a presentation on that in April, I think. But it's such a big issue that what is being asked of our industry is almost impossible, if not impossible. So doing the best that we can to be there. Trying to keep 2 years worth of training, advertising, specials, like for the most part, our technology in our industry can't do that at this point. Mm-hmm. Then you look at that first response. How many times do you get a first response that doesn't answer any of your questions, doesn't have any price questions? That's illegal now. We got no longer can you gatekeep people anymore to say, unlock the price. Well, that's illegal to do that. Things in the detail description. There's so much that goes into that, and it will forever change our industry. Even if a portion of it goes through, if not all of it goes through, Absolutely. But even a portion, we are forever changed because of it. And it's amazing to me how many people are not taking it seriously. Then you couple that with Comply Auto mayhem and Comply Net, where it's blocking GA4 stuff. That's a whole other situation we talked about a little bit before, but that's another one that's just like, not enough people are talking about this, which is it's a very scary thing.
Yes, and this is not to knock Comply Auto, Comply Net. I understand their challenges. I think some of them bit off more than they can chew and realize, what did we do? So we have to just do a blanket policy. If we cut off everything and the dealer has to opt in, then we're off the hook. Well, guess what, guys? You're the ones that pushed for this legislation, and now it's there. But when you got, we had a meeting with one of them. I'm going to leave it at that, so we're not picking on anybody. And they were very helpful. By the time we were done talking, we were told that there was a number of flags that came up. And I said, okay, well, show us the flags. What are the flags? And there was like 40 of them. They said, don't worry, 500 is what we're worried about. I'm like, okay, 40 seems like too much.
Yeah.
Click on the red flag on your dashboard. They clicked on the red flag. All the flags went away. So one of my people said, okay, does that mean we're good? And it's just a glitch in your system. And the answer was, I don't know.
Yep.
And we said, okay, well, who does know? Do you have somebody there? Well, we actually have an outside firm that forensic audits. I'm like, hold on, you're the compliance company and you hire a compliance company to make you compliant? I'm like, so you're white labeling an outside source. Again, no, I get it. I'm not trying to knock these guys, but everybody's looking. Remember when we talked about, I said, I'm a capitalist. I have no problem with making money. The problem is I never go to a casino and plan on paying my mortgage with the money I win. I go there for the love of the game. You have too many people going there to win the money and not for the love of the game. And I know that's hard to say in a business world, but you've got companies opening with just the mindset of money, 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 and not a result. And that's not fair. So you got it. Unfortunately, the dealers are going to have to watch themselves. Guess what? ComplyNet and Comply Auto do not have insurance policies that if they're wrong about what they advise you on, that they're covering you when it comes to advertising. Their advertising tool, if they say not approved or they say approved, yes, you're good, and you put that ad in and the FTC comes in and says strike, there's nobody. ComplyNet, Comply Auto are not coming to the rescue. You're on your own.
No,
it's a problem.
It's a big problem. I know. I get to rub up
deep
there.
on a Friday. Thanks a lot, Brooke. Appreciate that.
Sorry about that. We got Paul Machine saying, I have a client that shared with me he can't find good car people. His customers always bring out their cell phones with information, and my people can't work the deals. I said, I didn't know we were back in the 80s. And I would say that, like, and this is something we talked about as well, was that if you look at the Amazon, or almost, yeah, but look at the Apple stores, you look at the Chick-fil-A's, last I checked, unless it's a Buc-ee's, they're not getting paid anywhere near what we can pay them in the auto industry. So why are they going there? I mean, realistically, what do we have to offer? Like, and I love this industry, but how are we portraying it that we have so much more to offer? How are our benefits compared to them? How is your time off? And right now with the workforce that's a little younger than us, Paul, we'll leave it at that, is that they're going to have a second gig. Like, and you've got to be okay with that. If you're not, you're going to lose them. Yeah. I mean, they've also know that, hey, I've seen all the people before us get screwed over by corporate America. So therefore I don't trust it. So I'm just not, I might get hired, but I'm not going to show up. I mean, all these little things to know, how are we curtailing our business to say, hey, we are a kick-ass business and it's provided very well for us. I'm so grateful for this industry. But to Paul's point here, and what we're saying, both Paul's points at this point, is what are we doing to showcase that? And are we retreading everybody? Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing, Paul, thanks for the question or the comment on it as well as a question. Bottom line is this. It really starts with how you're recruiting, but preparation before application. Who do you want to be when you grow up the second time around in reincarnated world of the car business? Who do you want your dealership to be? I have one dealer that has the coolest dealership. He's got an Elvis Presley statue in when you walk in. He's got a huge fish tank, 1950 signs. I mean, it's the most badass dealership you'll ever see. Really, really cool. And I said to him, and listen, he's a hands-on owner, very focused. And I said to him, the problem is your success is almost your own detriment. You need to step back. I said, have flex hours. I said, you have this big room with a 100-inch TV screen and a conference table and movie theater. Let people have an hour to go play video games. That's when you're going to attract people. Give them their brain time off, and it's a balance. And I know that sounds crazy to people, but if you make a fun environment, now think back in the 80s of what made it fun for the car business. Demos. I got a car. Oh, that was a no-brainer. I don't have to make car payments. You're going to give me a cool car and I can go out after work and I can drive this thing. So that was one. Two, my Saturday morning meetings used to be, rolling dice for dollars, the envelopes with, hey, whoever sold X amount of cars last week gets to pick 3 out. You'd go in, there was either $10, $20, $100. There was things that got us fired up. The problem is money doesn't motivate this young generation as much as quality. They want quality time. And again, I'm not talking about snowflakes who want to, I need my safe space. No, you can't adhere to that. But you can understand that if you make the job cool and you make them feel good about who they are, and you give them the proper training. Apple gives people training. You have to go through certain things.
So
The
much
car
training.
business, they stuck me in a room that was the size of a bathroom. Remember the DVDs that were this big? Okay, the discs. And I swear to you, I didn't know what to do. They just said, watch this. So I memorized every car, including the cubic square inch of the trunk space. And that was my training. We got to train people on how to speak, on how to write emails. That needs to be ongoing training. So guess what? Instead of spending all your money maybe in areas that are not working for you, how about we hire a few trainers all the time there? Just like some companies have HR managers in-house to handle the problem on the spot. What if you had a communication director that taught them how to, the George Carlin, many people know, the comedian, used to say there's toilet paper and there's bathroom tissue. You do the same with both, but one sounds nicer. Mm-hmm. Teach them how to say words. If you're going to play the if I could, would you game, they need to know what's the next thing after that. How to hold them responsible. You let your managers give a price. Let your salespeople give a price and hold them accountable to what they need to accomplish by the end of the month. They have a quota. Traveling salespeople, pharmaceutical salespeople, they don't have a manager hanging over there. Can I do this? Go out, sell the product, and you better make your quota. What if we hired people, made them responsible, and held them accountable to what they do, and then make the changes? But it's got to be a concerted effort, a plan. The dealership has to reinvent itself. It just has to.
I could not agree more. And it's a funny concept of empowering your employees, whether that's a manager down to the person that takes that track, but empower them to do what needs to be done. Otherwise, what is it in for them? I mean, you're seeing so many mass layoffs or the company is not returning the profits back in stock options or back into the people themselves. And I cannot remember. Oh my gosh, I can see it's red. What company it is, but it was some food company. And he just goes, I made this much money. We're taking like 50% of it and it's all going back into the employees. I was like, that is so cool. It's like, I would love to work for a company. Well, I love working for myself. So the profits go back to me, let's be honest. But no, like something like that, that is like, to me, that especially in today's era, that is a big one. We got Paul saying here, the ultimate trainer is what the desk asks their people to do daily. Training starts with leadership on down. It's from the top on down. 100% that is.
Sure.
Yeah. And this
the
is
only problem with that, Brooke, only problem with that, and he's 100% right. The only issue is his job has changed. He now has to sit in V-Auto. He needs to be on the factory sites. He has to be looking at all this data where before it was go call your customers. How many ups do you have for the day? How do I make my newspaper ad? The general manager, general sales manager all have a lot more and are going to have even more with the Federal Trade Commission. At some point, there has to be an out of showroom training that is put together by that manager. Yes. And they have to be able to be empowered and give them guidelines. Look, you can sell it for as much as this. You could sell it for as little as this. You need to hit your quota for the month. This is where you need to be. Yeah.
And to say, I'm trying to think of a phrase this here, but to your point of all that is that there is so much more on them that you're going to probably need to hire, whether it's another manager to help out with that, get training, and especially what I have found that so often, like, you and I have been in the business for a hot minute here. And so we know a lot, doesn't mean we know everything. And not only that, let's say that you somehow are Einstein and do know everything. Certain people are not going to respond to your style of teaching. And so you need to bring someone in from the outside into the store to show a fresh set of eyes. Like I have no ego when it comes to that. I've done so much training in my life. I'm like, hey, it's just not resonating, and that's okay. Like that's on me. Obviously, I'm not doing a good job communicating it. Let me bring in someone else that can talk on this specific topic, and then boom, it's like light bulb goes on, and it just makes such a difference when you do that. And once again, take the ego out of it. With the craziest of March, I want to get into a little bit of what you talked about, fantasy advertising. I'm just going to let you roll with that one. If you haven't watched it, not now, go watch it later, but just a little highlight.
So again, and I hope some of the clients that I'm referencing aren't watching because they're going to know right away. He's talking about me.
You son of a bitch.
I just had a conversation. I called up the client and he wanted me to come up with some ideas. And I asked him a quick question about how are you looking on your lease portfolio? Has it dwindled because of COVID? He's like, I don't want you just to focus on my customers. I know that's on me. I need new customers. I said, you got to understand, I do more than just look. I said, I'm not the cat that's chasing the little red dot all around the room. You say something and then I respond. I said, I'm looking at the whole holistic, big point of view. What a lot of dealers or managers, let's call it managers and dealers, I mean, we talk about mind your own business. What they're not understanding sometimes is their advertising is on 24 hours a day. Their Google search is on, unless they shut it off. Their Performance Max, if they're doing it right, is on. Their inventory ads, their social media inventory ads, all that stuff is running constantly. So you're never off. If it takes you until the 6th or the 7th or the 8th of the month to finally approve things, remember, there's compliancy, there's a lot of pain in the neck stuff. So my point behind that dissertation is, so many times it's like, all right, we're going to get rid of this, we're going to add this, we're going to do this, we're going to change this. Stop. Look at your analytics. Did your e-blast bring X amount of people to the website? If they did, where did they go on the website? If they went to the right places on the website, did you do a match back to see the list of people that you emailed to, or a mailer, either one? Did you sell any cars from it? And hey, did you do 3 months or 2 months of a match back because maybe they didn't buy in March when you did the mailer, they bought in April or May? So you can't overreact to a situation. That's why I tell people the term has started to be adopted a lot more of marketing mix. Marketing plan. Build your plan. My watch has more than one mechanism. It doesn't just have a big hand and a little hand. It's got a whole bunch of crap inside that makes it work. Every time I look at my watch, I go, you know what? I think I gotta change these hands. They're not working. You gotta be able to take a deep breath. Everything in 90-day increments. If you're gonna bring back for the 75th time Car Gurus, because you fired them and hired them and fired them, and this time they mean it, and they've got a new algorithm.
We're getting a free month though, Paul.
90 days. Because the first 30 days, they're gonna give you a whole bunch of, they're gonna pump you at leads, and you're gonna go, oh my God, how did I not do? I should have never left them. Measure the sales. Make sure that they're bringing you. If you're spending $5,000 on Car Gurus, then you better have 10 car sales plus. You need double digits. If you're not selling at least 10 cars on $5,000 spend, that's a problem. That's that simple.
Yep, agreed. And that goes right into the analytics portion of it. We all have heard me say this more times than it's probably a drinking game at this point of GA4, and how it changes pretty much every time you're in it, let's be honest. And so it is a bit of a hot mess. Is whoever I wouldn't say partnered with, because they're the partner, they shouldn't be doing this, but whoever is your agency or a vendor is making it as complex as possible. They're doing that for a multitude of reasons. Based on my experience and based on what I've seen, and this is a lot of years doing this, they're hiding something from you. Your money's not going to the right place, or they're not doing as good as they should be, but they're going to tell you you're 10% up for yourself. And I'm not saying that you all need to, anyone watching this or listening to this, that you need to be the experts in GA4. You need to have the basic knowledge to know, are they doing a good job? And if, hey, I'm so overwhelmed, then reach out to me. Like, that's what I do. Like, there are a lot of people out there that can assist with this. I see time and time again where this is happening. And there's some great players in the space that do a great job, but you've got to ask the right questions. And I will guarantee you, because I've seen it time and time again, once you start asking those questions and the other person on the line's like, oh, wow, they actually know what they're talking about, or perceives to at least, the conversation becomes so much more of a quality conversation. And they're actually going to look a little bit further and look, hey, maybe we should tweak this, tweak that. But you can have a better conversation when you're able to do that.
Mm-hmm. You've asked your service techs to become computer experts. Mm-hmm. You've asked your managers to be on every website and look at everything and start measuring. And again, fantasy sales is, V-Auto, let's split it up because my name. How about if owners and general managers actually took some Google Analytic classes through Google? Don't use somebody who has a vested interest in skewing your numbers.
Yes.
And again, be a doctor, not a data scientist. EKG, your Google Analytics is nothing more than an EKG machine. Just because it says everything seems fine doesn't mean the doctor doesn't take the next step to look at something. And if something is bad, let's say the EKG is broken and it's flatlined, and you're sitting there going, no, I'm still alive. They don't put you in a bag and send you off and say, rest in peace. You have to be able to look at it and say, okay, I see indications of things. So look at your conversions. And conversions is a tricky word because, again, everybody learns how to bastardize things when they want to make your point. So to the point of like who's showing you, just think of your lawyer or your stockbroker. If you have a portfolio, they all want you to believe that it's the hardest thing to do because and that you're stupid and they're smart. Thank God you have them. The same thing's happening with your advertising people. Thank God you have me to interpret this because you won't take the time to learn it. We're around, let's see, the internet, what really came into play, 94, 95 for car dealers. Let's call it 2000. It's 2023, and we still have dealers not knowing how to read Google Analytics. And it's not, they don't have to master it. They just have to know enough to call BS on the person that's telling them they're doing great. Yeah. This coming from a marketing guy.
Yeah.
Hold me accountable. But going back to that conversion thing, and again, I know I'm long-winded. I apologize. I'll pass out one day. The conversion thing's a big deal because when someone's showing me a video conversion, that's nice. Show me a form lead conversion. Show me the hard conversions. Show me the call to action. There's a lot. You can show conversions and say, look at how great these numbers are. But if they're not something that's going to eventually convert to a lead and then to a sale, it's a lot of fluff. And that happens in the case we just took on a new client, and I'm looking and I'm saying they're showing literally like 1 million conversions. I don't need that many conversions. I need the ones that matter. And they're converting everything. They convert. Oh, look, they clicked on they clicked on John's picture. Conversion, converted to what?
To what?
So yeah, you got to know these things, and all it is a 10,000-foot view. Take a deep breath and ask 5 to 10 simple questions. Yep. And if you do that, you should be fine.
It's interesting. So I was talking to a dealership, not a client of mine, and they're like, "Hey, we just brought on a XYZ agency," and they go, "What questions?" I go, "Hey, I'm not working with you, but just so for your own safety, I'll call it, and covering your CYA is ask these 3 questions and just go through and say, do you do this? Do you do this? Do this? Because I'm very familiar with the company and understand how they work, to say the least. And so I go ask these questions, but I go, it's really imperative though, before you ever sign up with them, that you don't just ask me. You got to ask, they're going to give you their 3, anytime someone gives you referrals, they're going to be the 3 best referrals. Personally, What I do, I will make sure I send over a referral of a client that left, but we're still on very good terms, blah, blah, blah. So they can get both ends of the spectrum, because those 3 best ones are going to give you. You need to work your network and ask other people to say, who else can I reach out to that uses this company, uses this service, blah, 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 because they'll tell you their job is to sell you. Just as our job in our industry is to sell the vehicle. That is our job. That's what we do. The consumer's job and the client's job is to make sure and hold them accountable to say, are you really going to do what you're going to say? Hey, this car that you said has, a stack of hundreds in it. Does it really have a stack of hundreds in it? Because I don't see it. So do your due diligence.
No, you're right.
I got Joshua. No one cares about attention in business if it doesn't make you money or save you money or at least make life easier. Kick it to the curb. Yeah. I mean, there's some things that are not super easy. But I will say it's just when I was working with a client, a while ago, and I hear a lot, and it's like one of the many things I do is you take that gobbledygook that is being said from analytics or reporting or whatever is being said to them, and then translate it into car lingo, and you just make it really simple. And they just kept saying, man, you're the first person. We've been in business for X amount of decades. No one's done this. I go, well, I'm glad that I'm doing this. That's kind of sad. Like it shouldn't be, we're going to just bulldoze you with bullshit and hope that, because we're so awesome, we're just going to keep all this to ourselves. Like there's really, make sure you've got someone in house that at least has a inkling of an elementary level, and that's fine. And that will do, because it's going to reciprocate on the other end. Very much so.
We had mentioned, my agency is now going to start moving into, we have another arm, which is going to be in the political realm. And you would think, again, like when I was listening to a few meetings, they don't know. And the hardest part is, I said to them, they were talking about vetting data companies. I said, okay, who's checking the checker? I said, who here knows about how to acquire legal, clean data, accurate data? Are you getting 100% of 80% that they're pulling, or you get 100% of 40%? What's that mean? I'm like, there's no 100% data pull because there's privacy laws. So if you're pulling data, how much are they crossing referencing? Did you entertain getting 2 data companies so at least you can A/B test and see what's going on? And jaws are dropping, dead stare. Look, unfortunately, this is the world we live in. The business has gotten more complicated, and we're in that paradigm shift of dealers that are like, look, I just got in this business to sell cars, and I respect that.
Yeah.
But you also have to evolve, and you got to adapt or die. And to just get frustrated and say, well, that's not the way I do it, or screw that. You got to take a look at some things sometimes and really ask yourself, where are we in this mix? And, like I'm watching radio stations and TV stations, radio companies and TV companies selling digital. And then I go and I look and I find out that they're white labeling other companies. Well, guess what? Now that we got 3 layers, the agency's getting a kick, the radio station's getting a kick, the vendor that they're white labeling. So now you got 3 layers of profit that have to go out before you get a single piece of advertising. You got to know what you're looking at.
And that is a really key point that you bring up. And that is something I see more than I would like to see. I don't care if it's OTT, CT, whatever to call it. There's so many different ways that I am seeing people white label things. And that's good for you. I'm glad you're making a buck. Are you being honest with your client now that, hey, by the way, don't really own the product, but this is how we're getting it? Because if they would have just went straight to source, it would have been a hell of a lot cheaper for them just to go to the source that's providing all that to other third parties. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is going to the legal portion of it, is how much of that is actually real data, how much is being sold. Because if they're white labeling something, that means your data, your clients, whatever, your first party data is going to the parent company, whatever parent company that is, because it's their product. So how many people are getting a piece of the pie that you don't even know about, which is a whole other legal fiasco, which you got to disclose that, which good luck on that one in our industry. But there's so many things like, oh yeah, Auto Trader, it goes to the OEM, it goes to this dealership, it goes over here. I mean, there's just, then what's it, a Shift Digital or something.
You're making a good point. And look, this is not to I think there's like pictures of me with like bullseyes on it at Cox Automotive, Auto Trader, Cars.com, Car Guru.
Me too.
It just there's a hit on me. But I just got to ask the question: does anybody ever ask where some of these companies are getting this tremendous amount of leads? How does Car Gurus? Oh, I got 200 leads last month. Great. So sometimes waste is not just money; it's time. Time is money. So what were the quality of those leads? How much were you? How long was your people chasing those leads? You want your person to at least have 7 touch communication with a lead, and that's just I'm kind of giving a middle of the road. What about your first party leads on your website that no one got there by false pretense? Did Car Gurus create a lead on the Car Gurus site, or do they have a microsite that's Pip My Ride and they captured a lead and sending it to you, or is it a Facebook high funnel lead that just someone clicked yes and they captured it? It's like another company that didn't have USAA anymore to help out. There's just companies out there, and you got to ask yourself, it's too good to be true, but dealers fall into this problem, and BDC people, I need more leads. If I had people in front of me, I would sell them. No crap, and if a hunter had a bunch of deers lined up, chained to a fence, he would go home with 10 deers. No crap, you're going to sell the car. You're a salesperson. Thank God, because if you didn't sell them once they were in the dealership, we got a problem. The problem that you're not understanding is, like the old days, you got to get them into the dealership. There are no more walk-ins. There are no more drive-bys. Why it's even on a CRM?
Why it's on a CRM? And it's like always like the top 10. I'm like, they didn't just drive by. That's bullshit.
You know how many times I say, you need to fire me. You have to fire me because your number one source at 48% is walk-in. You don't need to advertise. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, walk-in, drive-by, referral. I'm pretty sure. I think billboard's still in there at some point. So yes.
But I want to be clear on something. It's easy to complain, and I see a lot of times, and it's easy for me and you. We can sit there and we can talk about. Everyone talks about the problems. I try and get to a solution, and it frustrates people sometimes because then they look for perfection. It's very simple: leads and sales. What's your closing percentage on leads and sales? How much money are you spending, and how much are you allocating to those spends? You need to be able to look at that, because that you're in control of. Because if your agency is bringing you 100 leads a month and you need 1,000, then you may need a new agency. Mm-hmm. And if you get 3 agencies and you keep getting 100 leads, then you got to start looking at the content. Are you telling people that you want $5,000 over MSRP on every car? They might not convert. Or do you have 20,000 people come into your website and your leads are down? If they are coming to your website and they're not bot traffic and they're not there by false pretense and they're not there for service, then what is making them not engage with you to take the further step into buying a car? No inventory, not the right mix of inventory, high prices, not good enough disclosure, too hard to get information. You got to look in the mirror these days, dealers, and those you want solutions, you got to start with you first. Preparation before application. Then you can hold everybody else accountable. But right now, you're just throwing money out the window if you're not prepared internally.
And to Brian's point, he's like, that's frustrating sourcing. Like, and Brian, it is something. And Brian, you're obviously in the dealership, and especially being on the marketing side of it, and I'll say the social marketing, everything between side. It's so infuriating when you go and you're like, hey, or depending on the CRM, you didn't tag it correctly in the sense of if it's been solution, it's not grouped. So you have 1,000 sources that aren't grouped. So you don't even know what traffic is actually good, because no one's going to go through those 1,000 sources on a report and say, was it this? Is it this? You're not going to go through everything. When I see ungrouped or unsourced is the number one, I'm like, how do you know what lead sources are doing well? And it's not, keep in mind, the CRM is going to be the last point a point of contact. So they, as we all know, we've told, as anyone that's been in this industry knows, or is a human at all, is that you understand that, hey, I'm going to look at 300 sites. I'm going to look at Instagram. I'm going to look at Facebook. So going to Brian, who would Facebook, Instagram, all YouTube, I'm going to go research the hell out of this. But where do I submit the lead? Well, it depends where you are on the journey. You may submit one on the tier 1 site, but when you're ready to actually do business, you're most likely going to submit it on the website, because now that's a super funnel client at that point. But understand, just because I see that doesn't mean I go and scrap our social team. That is when the person is ready to buy, they're going to remember that brand campaign that you did that says, hey, buy from us, do this, but you're not you're saying, but all of that content you're putting out there, now they're going to remember, I'm going to buy from XYZ. So
No, you're 100% right. And just to be clear, for anyone that is listening, I don't know how many people know me. I ran car dealerships for a lot of years. I'm not some blowhard agency trying to tell you your job and not sat in your seat. I've been there. Okay. I've been a general manager, general sales manager. I've worked in service. I've been a salesperson. I help build BDCs. I'm not talking, from just, from the cheap seats. I agree that sourcing is very hard to do. Doesn't mean we don't stop trying, because again, we're looking for enough evidence. We're not saying it has to be perfect. Like, I'll give you an example. I have a dealer that doesn't want to count. Like, they're like, well, we don't want to look, well, you're counting duplicate leads. I said, okay. I said, I'll bite. So which lead do you want to count? I says, if the person submitted 5 times, once was to your website, once was on Auto Trader, once was on Car Gurus, once was through the manufacturing website. Okay. And one was a phone lead. Which one do you count? The first one. Really? So then you're going to fire Auto Trader, fire Car Gurus, screw the factory leads that you're paying $23 for. No. The first question is, why did the customer feel compelled to put 5 leads in? Did you not answer his questions properly? If you got 5 phone calls from a person, would you not ask, why did this customer call 5 times? Mm-hmm. You can't dismiss that, because now we're talking about attribution. First click, last click, in the middle click, like which one do you count? So it's not about, oh, well, we really didn't get 600 leads. No, you did. You had 600 opportunities to close somebody. When I get up to bat, that's the reason why in baseball you get 3 balls and 4 strikes, not 1 pitch. Okay, so it's not like oh, well, you got your pitch, you're done. No, I'm going to get another shot at this. But at some point, if you strike out after all those opportunities and that happens too much, then you got to ask what's wrong. Yeah. So it's much deeper. It's a harder dive. And I know it's a pain in the butt. I'm not stupid. 12-hour days feel like 10 minutes now, because you look up from your desk and you're like, what the hell did I get done today? Yep. Don't be a one-man band. Be a delegator. Get people that you can trust, get the right people, and hold them accountable. And that's where you're going to see better results in your stores. It is what it is. It's not going away. And so,
and I think it's only going to get more. I mean, and looking at that, because to your point about the mixed media, whatever you want to call it, there's a different name, I think, every couple of years. So choose a name at this point. Is looking to say, yep. I know that CRM is the last touch point. Great. Do I know, other than the leads they submitted, what else happened? Because if they're submitting on or looking at all different places, are we in those places that are we meeting the buyer exactly where they need, where they are in their customer journey? And there are tools for that. There's a lot of great technology out there that can help you to say, this customer never submitted a lead to you. Well, why not? Maybe it's because our photos suck Maybe you have different prices on all different platforms. Maybe there's so many different reasons why they never ever purchase. It could be me. It could 100% be me at the dealership, or it could be in their lifestyle where they are right now. Man, I know that tax season's around the corner. I'm going to wait for a second until I get my refund, or whatever it may be. They're like, hey, I'm waiting for interest rates to come down. There's so many different variables, but really taking a deep dive to understand, why are they not submitting, or why do they submit 17 leads? I mean, we would do the same thing. If we saw the customer come into our lot 7 times and literally was on our physical lot, wouldn't we be a little curious of why are they still here? Why do they keep coming back? I know I'd want to investigate it, but yet for some reason, if it's digital, it's fine. Let the phone ring. We're not going to answer it. Like, no, look into this.
And so what happens is it should be ongoing, like websites. Well, I think we talked about this. I'm not sure, but websites. Your web provider, because they need to talk about something, says, well, let's see some of these we're going to fix. We're going to move this button on the left. We're going to move it to the right. And we're going to change it from blue to orange because our focus groups say that people click on orange more. We're going to move from slides to a hero video because that gets better SEO value and people like it better. Wait, 6 months later, we need to go back to slides. So what a dealer needs to do is ask themselves, first and foremost, what is the #1 website in the world that people shop on every day? Amazon. When have they changed it? When was the last time you went to Amazon and went, whoa, where did everything go? What's with the change? Nothing. eBay, same way. Why? Because they're selling a product. They keep it simple. They give you enough information, 7 to 10 pictures of the product, maybe a video, an explanation, done. If I was to open a website company, I used to build websites. The stress of worrying about like people's servers going down as it got bigger and bigger was too much for me. But if I ever opened up a website company, it would be video tutorials on everything for customers, short and sweet. It would have inventory, pictures to your point, some good explanations, and do we really need 7 click to buy buttons?
Oh
like
my God.
Disclaimer, clicked it. Like I've got some.
They all the same thing.
You don't know which one. Just one. Click on it and either give them the information because like I watch, like I'll look at my news and every time I go to a news feed that I like, all of a sudden after a while they want to start charging me or I got to click here to get in. Guess what I do? I go find my news someplace else. The lead gates, the trickiness, give them what they want because everybody else has to also. Be the most informative, be the smartest, be the most capable. People want to shop where they know. They're not doing what they used to do. They're not going to 5 dealerships anymore. Just give them what they want, and you should be okay. I know that's easier said than done, but you're still getting the leads.
It is, but it isn't. Like, I mean, if you go to the Amazon example, how many call to actions? I think there are 2. One to buy it, and one add to cart and buy it now. Like when I want something that I want to, once I've made the decision that I'm going to buy it, it's done. There's been so much research beforehand to know whether I need to get this or need/want to get this. But once I'm there, I don't want to spend 17 hours trying to figure out everything. And I understand that the car industry is different than Amazon. I'm fully aware of that. There's more that entails. That being said, when there are that many buttons or those change all the time, they get confused. There's button fatigue. They don't know where to click. So look at it and do some A/B testing. You talked about Hotjar, and for those who aren't using Hotjar, please sign up for it. You go through and look at that. Look at your analytics. Look at different things to say, hey, wait a second. We've been in business for 30 years. Do we really need our homepage to be all about acquiring a new customer? Probably not. It's about retaining that customer. So while it's important to have sales and the variable side on your homepage, maybe mix in some service there because that is where our bread and butter is going to be, especially in today's age.
And if you look at your analytics, they'll tell you what pages the customers are clicking on, where they're going. You know, believe it or not, About Us is, I believe, in the top 5, your service department, your used cars, your new car inventory, and then it stops. Nobody's researching things they're researching on the factory websites. They're researching on Car and Driver and other areas. Then they're coming to you for the final decision. So what do they want to see? They want to see the cars. So it's it has its challenges, but it's not as hard as it seems. Car buyers and Amazon are different for now.
Even with Hyundai, like it's going to be this. I'm not going to say it's going to be like an auto trader, but that is the concept around it. So I would love for car buying to be as simple as Amazon. We all claim that we have it. I've yet to see it. So
listen, and I don't encourage that we should be selling cars. Listen, I am a car salesman through and through. I love selling cars. I love the interaction. I love being a people person. But if the rest of the world has figured it out and we keep fighting it, it's going to happen with or without our kicking and screaming. And again, the Federal Trade Commission is looking to do that as we speak. We're still the most talented, in my opinion, industry out there because we have critical thinkers out there. We have people that, survivors, they know how to sell. But but just listen to the customer's complaints. I'm not talking about the whiny customer that's going to put you on every review site. I'm just talking about in general. We've been compared to getting teeth pulled for decades, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Like, at what point do we go, no more, we're better than this? And just quick story. I got in the car business. I was told, F&I, you can't do things legit. And I'm going to tell you the things I saw. People should be in jail for life, okay? It was unbelievable what I saw. Everything from fake computer screens, covering hands over blank contract signed. I got into F&I, and I'll never forget, I'm not going to get religious here, but I went to my pastor in my church. I said, listen, I'm in an interesting position. They want me to make a lot of money. They want me to be here. And his answer to me was, how much was Roger Maris's home run ball? I says, excuse me? I said, I don't know, $3 million? He goes, no. Because it's a $3 ball. He goes, it's what people perceive to be value. He goes, as long as you're not cheating people and you're disclosing to people and giving everything they want, then you are not doing anything wrong. And then I went into F&I and I just disclosed everything. Here's my warranty. This is how much it is. My numbers were consistent. They were strong. I never had a problem. I didn't have rehashes. The point being is we can still tell people the truth and then still be car salespeople. We can still do these things. So that's important to know. Believing me, it's worse than pulling teeth. Can't wait to share. Great, Joshua. But listen, I know we poke fun at it, but I never want to see this industry go away. This industry took care of my kids. It put my kids through college. It let me buy a home. And it's not because I was slick and I took advantage of an old lady. And I'm not saying that dealers are doing that. But we got to get to a point where we let this business live on.
Amen. Joshua said, just finished buying a 24 Camry hybrid. Oh, Josh, I cannot wait to hear about that experience. We might have to take that offline here, but I cannot wait to hear. And like, you're in the industry, so I'm curious if you went to someone like Stephen Apicella. If you know Stephen Apicella, he's an incredible human being. He owner of Your Dealer Experience, and when he buys a car, he purposely doesn't go to dealerships that he knows, because he wants to see what the experience is like and are they really doing. And he goes, now I could cash in on my favors and get the car for less, but he goes, I want to see what's going on, and I'll buy from them as long as it's done correctly. He goes, but I mean, I think in the last year they've purchased, I think 3 cars. I think it's 3 cars in the last 3 years. And it's very interesting to see what people are
different. Yes,
what they say and what they actually do.
Joshua, years ago, I bought a Ford Raptor. I was in that mode. I needed a pickup truck. I was going to get it. And I went on, believe it or not, as much as I'm not a fan, went on Auto Trader or Cars.com, went on. I found the dealer, and I know the dealer, okay? And the person I'm talking to, I called up. I said, listen, I'm interested in this car. I'm going to be back in town. This is what I want. They said to me, what does it say? One used car company sells close 10%.
10% of all used cars sold. They utilize people, process, and technology. Every decision is data driven. I would hope so. I'd hope so. Sorry, continue your story.
But so I'm going to buy, and I said to him, I will be there to buy the car. I says, I just need a little bit more information. They actually, and this is not too long ago, well, you got to put a $500 deposit. It's a hot car. I said, okay, I know the owner. I almost said the owner's name. I know the owner. Okay, I know her personally. Do me a favor. I'm going to buy this car from you, but you're not answering my questions. You're telling me I need $500. I said, are you insane? I said, thank you very much. I hung up. Now the manager called back. You have to understand. I said, you're still not answering my questions. When I finally got there, and I did buy the car because there was only 5 in the entire tri-state area, I showed up, and I literally left from the airport and showed up to the dealership. And who's sitting there but an ex-used car manager of mine? And I went, are you kidding me? I said, I said, you didn't do this when you were working for me. Oh, you got to understand, we got people that mess. I'm like, you're so dumb. You almost lost the sale. So anyway, that's just one of my, blowout stories, but it's bad. And we get, the good stores get a bad reputation. Clean, honest, straight up.
And there are a lot of them.
Yep.
But it's a one bad apple. But oh man, Paul, this has been a lot of fun. Not that I expect anything less. I knew it would be, but man, it's been for a Friday. I'm like, all right, we'll take this end of month. We'll go with it.
Oh God. People are like, does he ever shut up?
I'm like, open your ears. He's freaking awesome. What are you talking about? And I just
don't
handed
know
to
what to
myself
do.
there.
Like if I just sit there, like okay, I'm not gonna say anything.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Anyway, but no, it's always a pleasure talking with you. I love talking car business. I know not everybody agrees, but all I can say is just take a step back, look at the big picture, and at least come up with a process that works in your store. Train your people.
Amen. And everyone, get in touch with this man. He is one, as you can tell, he's pretty freaking awesome, but he's an even better person. So get in touch with him. If you have any questions about what he does and his services, reach out to him. We'll be happy to help out with that. Well, then everyone, we're gonna sign off here and get on our merry way with our end of month. And I appreciate everyone that's been a part of this. And I know it, like I said, with end of month, it does get a little crazy. So I appreciate everyone being a part of this. And you all know the drill this time at this point. It's just to find a way to serve today. I don't care if it is opening a car door. It can be a kind smile. Just do something to better someone's life today. And with that, everyone, we will see everybody next week.